Hi, today we're going to talk about hidden input fields and what makes them so unique. So, first of all, let's just duplicate this tab and let me just show you how it looks if you don't use a hidden input field. So let's just go to another of my projects and we have this right here. So we have some data in here and we have some data in here. Right? It is both the same principle. It is a list that will be rendered from a variable where we will push new data in. But as you can see, the way the data is being shown in the data store and the way we are having the ease of use or the not so ease of use of working with that data is differentiable. It is quite different. So we see we have all this data in here in such a wonderful list, like we just made an API call, right? But if we were to go to this other project, which is doing the same thing, we have it all on one line. And this may get clunky if I'm working with a lot of data, if I'm pushing like multiple things in here. You see how long this line all of a sudden becomes, and it would go endless. And just please ignore that I have 100 VH on the blue thing. I'm not a designer. Okay, perfect. Yeah, Anoy or Pablo, they are the good designers. But my designs are limited. Okay, you see? Okay, don't judge that design here. I'm not Pablo, I'm not Anoy. But as you can see, we have this endless variable here that is very hard to work with, and we don't even see the individual iterations. Even though they exist, they're just not visible for us in here. That is an issue if you're working with a lot of data. So, but if you were to have the same data, one-to-one, the same data, believe it or not, in a hidden input field, it would show like this. You have the whole array of containing everything. This is the long one. This is the same thing, but the hidden input field will automatically break it down by iterations. 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. And we have the .id, and we even see all the data preview for all the things we have in here. So why is this so amazing? If you're working with AI apps, if you're working with SaaS apps, or anything that really just has a lot of data, you need to test while you build it, right? And it is harder to test while you build it. Oh, that's completely the wrong thing. You didn't saw that I use templates. It is hard to work with data and test data, right? If it's just in one big blob, right? If it's just in one line. It's hard to work with that. And generally, when you build features, you need to have more insights on how, and you need to test with data and have iterations working properly, right? So there are just more things that can go wrong. Building a project with this one long variable, there are more human errors that can be made, right? So I like to use, if it is available for me, for example, if I work with a form, I can just add an input field in there and have visibility on hidden. And I can use this as a hidden input field. And this is where I will push all my information in, right? I like to work with that for forms because, as you can see, I have all those detailed breakpoints of the information inside only this one input field, this one right here. And I get all those breakpoints, and I have the dot notation, and I see the iterations, and I can test with data. This really, at least for me, avoids a lot of human errors that would be otherwise made because I didn't find the right iteration, or I didn't find the right syntax or something like this. When I want to define a variable, I just click on here, and it's in the function editor, and it is ready to go. Just have to replace it with the iterator. This is really something that changed the way I build complex data apps, because I just use hidden input fields for those structures, because it gives a more structured way of working with it. And quite frankly, if somebody wants to log in there as well, it is also easier for them to understand what is going on in your project. Or if you log back in a year and you don't know anymore what you did and you didn't write any documentation. So there's also another benefit. If you have a variable, and again, I'm not using templates. This is just someone else's Webflow account. But if you go in here, you will see that, let's look into that. Yeah, so first of all, it's very long, but the other issue about that is we only have it for this. It only applies to this form. What if we have a second one of those? What if we have two fields? Now we need to push the information for the other field, for the other contact form in the same variable. And now it gets all mixed up. So now what we would have to do is we would have to index every item in here with an index ID of the form. So let's say this is form 1 and we have a second one under this called form 2, right? So the inner point 1 would have to have the ID of 1, and maybe we have Bob Johnson on 2 and he would have to have the ID of 2. I think you understand where the complicated stuff now happens. You have all those array with all the data from all forums and you have them indexed by ID and you need to filter and do JavaScript operations to get them tangled out and to create arrays out of that relate to the form. It is a lot, incredible work. It is an incredible amount of unnecessary work here. So this is where I like to use hidden input fields, because this hidden input field in here is only related to the hidden input field that is in this form. And if I have a second form or I render a list of forms, it will apply the iterator on there and therefore not interfere. So when I upload something on form 1, it is in the hidden input field of form 1. If I upload something on form 2, it is in the hidden input field of form 2. This even works with the dynamic rendered list. And if you just want to have a second form of there, for example, one is for employee login, the other one for, I don't know, for employer login or sign up or whatever you want to do, you just apply different attribute to the hidden input field. You say hidden input field employees, hidden input field bosses, or I don't know, something like this. So this makes it really simple to work with multiple forms of data and to have this related to the form field itself. So it doesn't become global page data, because if you do data global, you want to have things that are going on in the page, right? So if global things happen on the page, you want to do a variable, because then it is global data. But if you have things only going on in a form, I always like to relate that data only to the form itself. I may store that in a variable later on if I want a user to reload and the progress is saved, but I don't want to overcomplicate my setup, because this overcomplication will reduce the amount of scalability I can do in the future, which is a limitation. So I just wanted to dive into this. It may be a high-level topic, but I just want you to know, if you take anything from this video, you don't have to understand anything else. But if you only take one thing from this video, it is this. This is how it looks if you have an array in a variable, long and complicated on one line. And this is how it looks if you have the array for your form in a hidden input field. Easy to work with and understandable. And yeah, I hope that this helped you. I hope that you are now working easy to work with and understandable. And I wish you a wonderful day, and thank you so much for all your support. And if you have any questions, comments, or if you have any suggestions for further videos, please write them down in the comments below. I'm always happy to read all your wonderful comments and to respond to every one of them. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.